Hello, guys. Hey, it's Wednesday. It's Wednesday at 1. It's our coffee chat time. I am so excited to be here with you guys. So, just a little quick update. If anybody is curious about how harvest is progressing on our farm, we have approximately 700 acres left. We went super, super late on Sunday until like 3 in the morning and got as much done as we could because there was snow in the forecast. And sure enough, on Monday, we got some snow flurries. It didn't accumulate too much, thank you. And it is moisture though, and we weren't able to combine Monday or Tuesday, but today the sun is shining, the wind is blowing. We did get a shower last night, and we will be going this afternoon. So in a couple of hours, we're going to head out to the field and see where everything is at. And so I get to be live with you from my house today, not from the tractor, which is exciting and exciting. I mean, I would love to be in the tractor, and I'm happy to be here. So I want to talk to you guys more about money today. More about money. Money, 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 money. Hey, Bobby, how are you? So I have a new online program starting on Monday called the Cash Creation Club. And oh my God, I am so excited about it. Like every time I say those words, Cash Creation Club, or every time I think about it, it just lights me up. And it's going to be like a cash creation playground. And so what has really inspired me to start this club is one thing. I really love talking about money, and I have created some wealth in my life over the last couple of years using these tools of access consciousness, and I would like to share them with you. So, I mean, money was not ever anything that I was ever taught about before I started taking access classes, and before I actually then got involved in money conversations and how to actually create money in your life. Before that, I only knew money as coming from a job or money coming from somebody paying you for something. It was an exchange. You did something and you got money, whether it was your job, babysitting, whatever. And so I remember just kind of going back in my life to money. I had a summer job when I was in school, and I worked at a grocery store. I had a few different jobs. And kind of my financial reality up until 2013, until I found some access classes, was just getting by. Like I was really just getting by. My account was always in the overdraft. I always had a balance owing on my credit cards. And I not wasted, but a lot of my energy went to worrying about money and wondering if it was going to be there, and not really knowing how, what am I going to do? We want to go on this trip. And then, so that was my financial reality. It was a lot of lack with money. Money was never enough. And I had to work hard for it, and all of that. And I didn't ever have money. Like when you carry around $2,000 with you, say as an example, it creates an energy in your purse or in your wallet, in your life, that can be uncomfortable if you're not somebody who's used to having money in your life. And so maybe you randomly get rid of it because you're not actually willing to have that energy or receive from having that money in your life. So you might create things to get rid of the money, random breakdowns of your vehicle. Something comes up at some emergency and you have to spend it on something. Like it can be really interesting what we create. And so that was me. I created a lot of weird stuff. We created a lot of big bills. We created a lot of, and I would always I almost think that I got excited about barely getting by and proving to myself that I could always get by, scrape by the skin of my teeth, no matter what I had to do with money. It's so interesting. So like, I remember this one time, like, I honestly don't even know how Travis and I afforded anything. But again, that kind of goes to show you that you can be magic with money in any way, wherever you're at. We when we lived on this other farm, our water meter had to be read in a culvert, like a ways from the house, and this culvert had water in it. So we would have to pump the water out and go down in a ladder and read our water meter. So we knew how much to pay for our water bill. I know, it's really crazy. And so we didn't read our water meter that often because it was a pain in the ass. And then it was like Boxing Day or something. And I don't know, I just thought it would be fun. We'd go on this adventure and read our water meter. And we did the math. And our water bill was like $2,500 because our cistern, the tank that held the water, had been overflowing and we didn't know, we weren't aware of it. And it was going underneath the snow, and that's how much water had overflowed. And that's what our power bill was. Merry Christmas. And it was so frustrating. And we got it paid within a few months, like we pulled out the big guns of money creation and we created just enough to pay that bill. And anyway, so since having the conversations of, having money, creating money in a different way. So the normal way to create money in this reality is by having a job and trading, doing something, or, exchanging for money. What about like the Cash Creation Club, and what I've really been exploring is the energetics of money. Like, money is an energy, and it loves to play. And I used to think that I would be happy if I had a certain amount of money in my life. And it's almost like I would like work really hard and pay off that water bill, and then I could be happy. And I had that as a thought. And then I would pay off the water bill and I still wouldn't be happy, like, and then finally realizing that what if I just chose to be happy? What if I chose to do things in my life that made me joy, that brought me joy, that I thought I couldn't do before because I didn't have the money? What if I somehow just and it's something as simple as, including taking some time for you every day to read a book or to have a bath. I'm not talking about going on a holiday when you can't afford it. But just, not detaching, but getting yourself off the hamster wheel of the lack of money in the creation, and taking some time for you and doing something that is nurturing for you and kind to you, and allowing that energy to start to unravel and create another possibility in your life. And that energy, when you honor you, that energy starts to attract money in your life. And there's also the whole conversation. I started a 10% account. That's, it's not just in Access that it's talked about. It is talked about in other financial programs probably. But taking 10% of all the money that comes into your life and honoring you with that money, not paying bills first, paying yourself first, and showing the universe and the money out there that you honor you and you're willing to have that money. Paying yourself first, because, and I never did that. And I remember when I first heard about doing this, and I'm like, there's no flipping way I can take 10% out of my paycheck and pay myself. There's no way, because I don't even have enough in my paycheck right now to even make my bank account zero. Like, there's always more month than there's paycheck money. I was always in my overdraft. I'm like, there's no way I can. And I kept telling myself that. And finally, I just got sick of creating lack of money. And I'm like, there's got to be something different here. And I'm like, well, there's this one thing I haven't tried yet, and that's taking 10%, although I don't know where the money's going to come from, but I'm going to start doing that. And so I started doing that. And I don't even think I started with 10% to begin with. I started with 5%. So it was just something. And if I got paid cash, because sometimes I would for riding lessons, I would take whatever 5% of that cash would be and put it in another pocket of my wallet. And if I got paid in a check or an e-transfer in my bank account, then I would put that into another bank account. And I started with 5%. And let me tell you, I wrestled with myself. I struggled with myself in the beginning to spend it. And I was firm with me. I was firm. And I didn't spend it. And it continued to grow. Now it's interesting because as my 10% account in cash and in the account grew, I would get uncomfortable and I would spend it sometimes on different things that weren't really, I wouldn't spend it all. I would use it maybe to pay for a class. And then I felt so guilty about that I wrote out an IOU for my account and I paid myself back. And that created something too. So once I started having money, I actually started having to make choices and what I really wanted to spend my money on. I really had to get present with what I was creating with my money and how I was spending it. And so this whole conversation kind of started to open up for me when I was at the 3-day body class this past May in Calgary with Shannon O'Hara. And we started talking about money. And she started talking about creating a future with your money. Like, what kind of financial future are you creating for yourself? She was talking about the Talk to the Entities program. I mean, she created that whole thing. And she said that whole program actually came out of her needing money. Like, similar situation as I just described to you with me and maybe with yourself. You just fucking need money to live, right? To buy food, to buy groceries, to get to the dentist, to get your hair done. You need money to live. And she was also struggling with money and had a lot of debt. And she was willing to do whatever it took, and Talk to the Entities was born, that whole program. And she said that one day this day came along and all of a sudden there's all this money everywhere. She's like, there was just so much money coming in from everywhere. And she acknowledged then that the choices that she was making with the Talk to the Entities program and with other things in her life was creating a financial future for her. And she was getting that future, like the money just started showing up. So now that's where a lot of people stop with their 10% account, maybe within the first 2 weeks or the first month, because they're not seeing a real change or what they expect to change immediately. They're not willing to go the distance with it. And what if you were? I mean, so I'm also now living a future that I started creating, in 2013, 2014, when I chose the 10% account. And money is so much easier for me now. I actually don't worry about it. I don't think about it. When I require more money in my life, I just look at all of the ways that I can create it. And I ask for it to show up, and it does, and it's so amazing. And it's not quite enough for me yet. And I don't think it's ever going to be enough, because as a creator, as a person who likes to expand their life, as your money flows expand, your life expands, and then the money you require in your life also expands. So it's never enough. But one thing that really inspired me to get my ass in gear and create more is I was having a conversation. Hi, Heather. Hey, Crystal. I was having a conversation with my friend, and her husband, actually they're not married yet, they're just living together, but he has a really successful couple of businesses, and he has a lot of money. And I was talking with her because she came from not having money, like to having a lot of debt and money really being a struggle in her previous relationship. And then she did it on her own, and she struggled, and she got by the skin of her teeth with her family, and then all of a sudden she met this man who has like shitloads of money. Hi, Heather. Oh my God. So she got in with this man, got dating him, and it wasn't for the money. Like, I don't even know if she knew how much money he had when they started going out, but I love talking to her about this story because they got together and they literally just fell in love, and they contribute to each other, and he's so kind, and she receives him and his gifts and his generosity. He's such a generous man from what she talks about him. And he has all this money. And in one of his businesses, one of his employees, their daughter is really sick right now, and she has some paralysis going on in her arms. I don't know the full details, but long story short, the hospital is waiting to send her to get a CT scan and an MRI to find out what's going on with her. And she's young. She's like, I don't even know if she's 10 years old yet. And so his employee was struggling with that and feeling frustrated. And this guy was like telling my friend, his girlfriend, like, I just want to tell them to go book an MRI at a private place and I will pay for it and send me the bill. And he's like, do you think that's overstepping boundaries? And my friend was telling me, like, she's like, no, I don't think that's overstepping. I think that's so generous, and I think you should offer it to them. And then I think you allow them to decide if they would like to receive that or not from you. And I'm like, wow, like, I honestly don't know how much an MRI would cost at a private facility, but it's got to be thousands of dollars. And I'm like, I would really love to have so much money that I would be comfortable telling somebody to do that, somebody that I care about, gifting them that money and having that level of financial ability to do that. I'm like, I'm not even there yet. So I guess for me, I'm really comfortable what I'm creating in my life and for my family, but creating beyond that, and then creating a future where in 10 years, there's just money to create with. And money loves creating, money loves joy, money loves play. In one of the money videos I did, I talked about, if money was your lover, would you still be having sex? And it's a radio show that Glenise Hughes did a few years ago. And it really hit me because back then I was telling money that it was never enough. And every time it showed up for me, it was just frustrating because it was never enough. And then I had to deal with not having enough still. And then when you look at that energy, like if that was a person you were talking to, like your lover, would your lover show up for you? Probably not, because you're a real stick in the mud and you always tell it that it's less than, and you're always judging it that it's not enough. So how is it, like, why would it show up for you? It's not going to bring its friends to your party. So that radio show, I remember, really was loud for me. And I started really looking at and getting present with the energy that I was being with money. And it wasn't very welcoming. It wasn't very receiving, and it wasn't very fun. And so I just started changing that. And yes, so the Cash Creation Club that's starting on Monday, it's 12 weeks. And I have a sense right now that maybe it's going to go another round after this one. I don't know. But in the 12 weeks, we are really going to look at developing and cultivating a financial future and seeding those seeds right now in these 12 weeks. So when your financial reality starts to grow and blossom and bloom, it's there for you, and it could show up in the 12 weeks. It could really start to change in the next 6 months. It could really and keep blossoming into the next year. Like, there was always a funny energy around retirement plans for me. Putting money away right now, so when I'm 65, I don't have to work anymore and do nothing, but I have money to, whatever I want. But I'm like, so a few years ago, well, not a few years ago, when I worked at the co-op, I did a retirement plan there because it was included and they matched the money, all of those things. And back then I was like, yeah, when I'm 65, I don't want to be working. I want to be riding horses and have an indoor arena and all of that stuff. Well, I've actually already got that. And when I don't even consider myself working right now because I love every minute of what I'm doing every day. And I know that I'm never going to stop creating. I know that I'm always going to be able to create money no matter where I am and no matter what I'm doing. And I love that. And do you know that? And would you like to know that about you? Would you like to discover that about yourself? Would you like to uncover the capacities that you have with money? So that's what this 12 weeks is going to be about. And I don't know, if you have any questions, I'm happy to message you or chat with you about the program to see if it's a fit for you. If you don't have the money to sign up right now, that's okay. Maybe you can, we don't start until Monday. Like, if you were really committed, and like, what magic could you create? I wonder. There's always a question that I ask before I choose a class, whether it's a live class or an online class. It's like, I will sit with the class, I'll close my eyes, and I will take a deep breath, and I will ask this question. Truth, what will my life be like in 5 years if I take this class, if I go to it, if I choose it? And I get a sense of the energy. And if it's a light energy, if it's expansive, so if it makes me smile, if it makes more space in my life, if it is light, if it lights me up, it's a yes. And that's the energy that I want to create as my future and as my life. And then if I ask the question, truth, if I don't take this class, what will my life be like in 5 years? And then I get a sense of that energy. Hey, Joy, how are you? And if that energy, maybe it's heavy, maybe it makes me frown, maybe it's kind of like, and it's sticky, and the frown for me is always my telltale. Like, don't choose it if it's a frown. Choose it if it makes you smile. And then I've chosen classes that I didn't have the money for at the time. When I took my first foundation class, I didn't have the money for it. I mean, it was $1,600. That's a lot of money for me back then. And I put it on my credit card, but I asked those questions, and it was so light to take it. And I didn't have well, I guess I had the money, and I could acknowledge that my credit card contributed to creating my future, because it did. And those are getting present with what you're choosing in your life, whether it's with money, whether it's to go shopping, whether it's to go to a wedding or an anniversary, like following the energy that makes you smile, the energy that lights you up. That is what is creating your life and your future. And so what energy, getting present with that. And yeah, I could keep babbling on for like an hour. So anyway, that's my chat for today, and we will be heading out to the field very soon, I think in about an hour or so. So yay! Anyway, I adore you guys. Thank you so much, and have an amazing rest of your day. Until next week. Haha.